Welcome back. Hello.
Hello.
So now we get to talk with both of you, the co-creators of Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas, Dr. Dain Heer. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So the segment is the kind of like the backstory of how did Access Consciousness start? Where did it begin? So can you tell us a little bit about, like, you guys have known each other and been creating Access for 20 years. Gary, you went it alone for a while before you met Dain.
A long time.
And you didn't give up.
Long time.
A long time.
What was that like?
Hideous. Got better when he came along.
Well, he would say something like, for example, about judgment and how it's a killer and limits you, and people go, "Oh, I get exactly what you're talking about," and they would turn around and judge someone or something. And
They'd say, "I still get what you're talking about. I'm going to do that from now on," and then turn right around and do exactly the opposite. And I remember one time at the end of the class, and I looked up gods and I said, "Please, God, will anybody ever get what I'm talking about?" "Yeah." "How soon?" 3 years. "Okay, 3 years." I'd already been doing 7 years at that point. So I waited 3 years. Guess who showed up in 3 years?
hello.
Your tech man.
And I showed up. Simone Milicis, our worldwide business coordinator, I forget her new title, showed up. And it was a very interesting thing when we started. You know, at the interview I did at the beginning of the day, I was saying, you who are new here picked a really good time to show up, because access to what we are accessing is way easier than it's ever been
now
before.
On the bullet train instead of cutting the jungle with fingernail clippers.
Yeah, and that really was the way it seemed for years upon years. And we would keep doing our thing. We would keep finding new ways of unlocking things. We would present it to people, and it was like people just didn't get it, nor did they want to.
They didn't want to get it more than anything else. But now somehow that's changed.
Yep. And we just kept going because we knew. We knew that consciousness would be the one thing that would create the future we wanted to see as our world.
Well, we had some very interesting experiences too. Like once I was bucked off of a horse that doesn't buck, and he was trying to get out of the way of a thunderbolt that was being delivered at me, and it was so funny because I was slammed into the ground so hard I probably had a mild concussion. I kept saying, "The horse is okay. He didn't mean to do it. The horse is okay. He didn't mean to do it." They kept going, "What are you talking about?" It's like, and somehow I knew what had happened. And I was okay with it. But Dain then went to work on me, and he literally pulled me back together and pulled me out of the sand where my head was stuck.
And out of the shock that his body was in.
Exactly. And it's like at the end of it, I went, "Oh my God." You know, it's like we're not going to win here. We're going to succumb to this unconsciousness. And then I heard, "No, we're here." I went, "What?" And I looked around. And I saw the grass. I saw the flowers. I saw the trees. And I went, "They're all with us. They too want the consciousness to dominate on planet Earth. And hopefully you guys want consciousness to dominate on planet Earth too. Because that way we keep planet Earth alive and growing.
And thriving for us. Because consciousness is a space where every possibility beyond the box of your reality or beyond the box of what everybody's creating as reality can exist. And it's beyond that box where all the magic lives, where all the miracles live. And that's
where the miracle of you live.
That's who we are. That's what we are. But you grow up and you live your life, and it looks normal, and it looks like, and I don't know, it's like most of the people who come to Access have had a sense that if this is all there is, why am I here? Like, you have a sense there's got to be something different. You know there's got to be something different.
Something greater.
Yep. And so we had the same sense, and we knew it to such a degree that we wouldn't give up, we wouldn't stop. Plus, what we were doing is more fun than anything else we could ever consider doing. So, and seeing people change in the classes we facilitated, I mean, think of what it was like 20 years ago.
Oh, God. No, I don't want to. Yeah, but I see
Oh.
the changes that occurred. It's like, it's so funny because some of those people that were around 20 years ago, they got so much change in their life that they couldn't handle it. And so they went back to trying to live a normal life. Never quite succeeded. They were still always damn fucking strange.
Yep.
But, you know, it's like if you're not willing to be damn fucking strange, you ain't going to get there anyway. So you got to be willing to be that.
Well, one of the interesting parts is to see, because access truly does create change.
Yeah.
And people aren't used to actually changing. They're used to going in the direction of change, seeking change without ever actually getting it.
They want a different outfit.
Yeah. Just change my outfit. Don't actually, like, let me change. And so there are people where that's been the case, where their life changed so much, they were like, oh my God, I can't fit into the box of normal anymore. I need to get out of here and try to go make myself normal. And then, like, there was one guy who was like, I'm getting too strange. Things are showing up too easily. I'm like, that's what I'm looking for. And
Things showing up too easily.
Exactly. And he was like, I'm freaking out. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, what we're doing is working then. That's great.
Why don't you freak in instead of freaking out?
Yeah. But he was like, I can't do access anymore. So he left and he came and he saw somebody that he knew 3 years later that they had started access at a similar time. And he looked at them and he went, what have you been doing? And they said, access? And oh my God, because they looked a lot younger than he did. And this was one of the things that was really important.
Sort of like 3 years, they hadn't aged at all.
Yeah. And he said, well, I'm going to go back and keep doing access if it gives you anti-aging, even if I have to be weird and have things show up too easily. It's like, wow, interesting where people function.
But he only came back for a little while because he couldn't stand it being that easy.
Yep. And it's an interesting thing to realize that people would rather have what they consider reality than the ease, the joy, and the possibilities.
Ease, the joy, and the glory.
The glory, which is exuberant expression in abundance.
Abundance.
And one great thing you can do is 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening, say, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory.
And it works.
And
or when things are not really good at all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, all of life. I mean, it's like at one point I have a son who was a serious druggie. I have two of them that are. And
100% improvement.
Yeah,
good
100%
job.
improvement.
Yeah.
But it's like he had already had one car accident and had towed his car. So I didn't want him to tow my car, number one. But I also didn't want him to have to go to jail. So I said it all night long, and I kept saying it.
He kept saying, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Because he didn't know what the heck else to do.
I didn't know what else to do. I had tried prayer lines. I tried everything under the sun, and nothing really changed that.
And this, by the way, was years before I came to Access.
Years before he came back.
So the tools that we had, see, we have thousands of tools now. He started basically with one. It was called the bars. And everything else.
One, and all of life comes to me.
Those two. Those were the two tools that were available at the time. And so everything else we have through our blood, sweat, and tears, developed by asking questions about how to change things faster for people.
I thought we
how to
did
create
our
miracles.
Joy and glory.
Blood, sweat, and tears. No, people wanted blood, sweat, and tears.
All right, so we did
blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah. And now we could have East Joy and Glory. No, still blood, sweat, and tears.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
It's like a friggin' Western movie. It's like a drama show.
Like
anyway, so
it's like a bad band from the 80s.
70s. There's so many of those.
I know.
80s hair is coming back, by the way.
Oh, gross.
I know.
What does that mean? The mullet will come back.
Ooh, the mullet. I saw a guy yesterday on something I was watching, and he had a mullet. He wore it proudly. I was like, oh. No. To be fair, he was a scientist, so he wasn't like, a model in a mullet. It was, but he's
a nerd in a mullet.
Yeah, basically. And
nerds can wear mullets.
Good point. And maybe shoulder pads will come back. I don't know.
They are back. They are back.
They're back?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. You can find them in some things now.
So, goodness Lord. Some things should never be returned.
Yeah. And that's not from a space of judgment. I just want to point out that's just awareness.
It might sound like judgment, but it's like you just look, you never.
There you go. So anyway, Gary said all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory all night long.
Yes.
And
the kid came home that morning. He says, "I need a program," and he had been in several programs, none of them had ever worked. He went away to a program, and he got sober, and he stayed sober for a number of years, and then he got unsober, and now he's permanently unsober.
No, permanently sober. No. Unsober? Permanently unsober.
Permanently unsober.
Gotcha.
But it's like, hey, given his circumstances, I don't blame him.
But that situation was something, I mean, it shows, and this thing about all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
And not only good things happen to me. Affirmations are only good things happen to me, only good things happen to me, only good things happen to me. And then...
Except all the people I knew who did that only had bad things happen to them.
I know. Well, because here's the thing. Your point of view creates your reality. And the underlying point of view is this bad thing is going to happen, so I'm going to try to antidote it with an affirmation.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, that's this sense of being able to actually trust the universe and trust you.
Even the good, the bad, and the ugly comes with ease, joy, and glory.
And you no longer have to avoid the ugly because it'll come with ease too.
Yeah.
And even what you thought was ugly turns out to be a miracle in your life. I mean, we had one lady who was saying, or was that us switching? Or was that just Brett saying?
Brett playing.
Seeing if he could make us look better. We must look weird. Maybe we are weird. Maybe
I
that's
am
the problem.
weird, so it's my fault.
Good point.
It's okay.
No, you know what that was? I just realized that was us transmigrating instantaneously, switching places. Ha ha!
Ah!
See, but that's what people think is miracles. I can transmigrate. I can move my body from here to here. Well, that is a miraculous possibility. But a miracle is actually being able to have ease and joy and glory when everybody else is running around like a chicken with their head cut off.
And suffering and glory.
Yeah, exactly. So this thing about all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, that really is one of the targets of Access. As far as you were concerned, to have all of your life come to you with ease. Like there was one lady who she wanted her car to be painted and she had been asking for it, but she didn't want to pay for it. And so she parked her car at this place, went in, came back out, and somebody had sideswiped her entire car. Now, all of life comes to you with ease and joy and glory. A lot of people would go into the trauma and drama about that, but she said, what's right about this, I'm not kidding. From this perspective of all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And glory, by the way, is exuberant expression and abundance. And it turns out that the insurance repainted her car for free. How does it get any better than that?
I'm guessing.
So that's just one of
many possibilities.
Many possibilities. But
Yeah.
it gives you a different perspective of how things could show up and gets you out of the fixed point of view that something that everybody else says is bad has to be bad and wrong for
From
you.
my point of view, miracle is the ability to change.
That's
the real miracle, miraculous capacity we have that most of the stuff is not used.
that.
The ability to change. What kind of change to that?
Yep.
Besides my underwear.
Please change
Yeah.
your underwear too.
I know you have to change your underwear because my mother told me if you don't change your underwear when you have to go to the hospital, you're going to have, they're going to take your underwear off and see how dirty you actually are. And then I had a friend who was in an EMT and he said, well, the problem is when most people get in an accident, they shit themselves. And so even if you have clean underwear on, you're going to shit yourself anyway, so what difference does that make? So don't change your underwear.
I don't even know where to go from there. Emily, do you have any more questions?
I do. I don't know if I have a
Okay,
smooth
good.
segue from that one, but I would like to hear about how you both met.
Oh,
Shannon.
well, let me tell you. I got my bars run the first time, and if you want to know that story, watch the first interview. But I got my bars run for the first time by his daughter, Shannon. And after a few weeks, we would get together once a week, and I would get my bars run, and the space of my life just kept going like this. And she introduced the clearing statement to me at one point, and I was on it. I used it for everything. It was amazing. Like everything that would come up, I'd go destroy and create and puck and pot, all that. And it was just so cool. I felt like I had miracles at my fingertips. And I started enjoying being alive again so much. And at one point...
He hadn't enjoyed life for a long
A long time. I truly enjoyed it for years. And I started having this sense of joy with pretty much everything. And even though I had the meanest girlfriend in the world at the time. And so at one point I said, hey, to Shannon, I said, who created this stuff? It's amazing. And she goes, oh, my dad. And I was like, what? Your friggin' father? Like, you know the person that created this? And I said, yeah, where does he live? I want to meet him. And she said, oh, Santa Barbara. And so I told Shannon I wanted to meet him. And of course, Gary had all kinds of people who wanted to meet him because they wanted to suck the life out of him and get free sessions and all that sort of stuff, as you would. And so after I did my first level foundation class, Gary called for a session in my office.
First of all, you have to understand that Shannon told me about 10 times, and this chiropractor wants to meet you. No. And this chiropractor wants to meet you. What kind of chiropractor is she?
She's a chiropractor with a penis.
Yeah.
That's what she is. Yeah.
But she said, what kind of chiropractic do they do? They do that network stuff that you like. Oh, okay. Nah, not now.
And I asked for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. Finally, after I did my first foundation class,
and I was dying,
and Gary was dying,
I knew it.
He called for a session in my office. And it's so great because what I had learned from somebody who had a busy practice was always pretend like you're busy so that people believe you're busy so they value you. One of the tricks that is supposed to work that is bullshit. But anyway, so he said, okay, when can I come and see you? And I was like, oh my God, Gary Douglas, Founder of Access. I was like, well, I'm kind of busy for the next, I don't know how many days or whatever. And he's like, I want to see you now. And I went,
you said to me, when do you want to see me? I said, yesterday.
Anyway, he drives down, he comes down to my office. And so we're gonna, and so I was like, he said, look, you need to go straight to level 3 of network. And I was like, I just started studying that, which really meant I have no idea how to do this.
Which meant he was lying.
Yeah, I was lying. But I didn't know he was psychic, so I didn't know that, that
he can't lie to me.
Yeah, and so when he knew I was lying, but he didn't call me on it. He just said, look, ask my body what it wants, follow the energy, you will know what to do.
Yeah, and I knew he would. It was really weird.
It was the first time anybody in my life had said I would know what to do. And it was so freeing in that moment, especially with Gary, who had no judgment, but also this world of possibilities. Like as soon as he walked into the office, I was like, oh, it felt like Christmas, It felt like some creature.
Santa Claus.
Except better. It was because, you don't have to be bad or good and not bad. You can be whatever you want. It was amazing. And so I had this sense of this space already. And he said, ask my body what it wants, follow the energy, you will know what to do. And there was this energy that came through, and I was like, oh, this feels awesome. So I lay him down on the table like I would start a network chiropractic session. And before I go to touch his body, I'm like a foot off of his body and about to touch it, and his body responds as though I had touched it. And I was like, whoa. And he takes a full breath from the bottom of his spine all the way up to the top, and everything just comes together. And I was like, whoa, because that's supposed to take 8 weeks. That was level 1 completed in 3 seconds, and it's supposed to take 8 weeks. And so then I'm doing some other stuff with his body, and it was miraculous. It was one of the miracles I've been so fortunate to be in the presence of. And so at one point I'm standing 15 feet away from him, and I'm moving my hand like this, and he's flopping on the table like a fish. I'm not even touching the guy. I have no idea what's going on, but it just feels right to do. So I'm like moving my hand incrementally in little different places just because it feels right somehow. And he gets up off the table after 45 minutes. I'm like, I think we're done. And he gets up and he looks like he's just smoked a lot of pot. And he's got bloodshot eyes. He's like this.
Yeah.
And he said, that was
incredible. And it was. And it's like literally I knew I wasn't going to die. And when I walked in, I knew I was dying.
He didn't tell me that. But later he said, you fucker, you fucking make it so I've got to live and get to work. I was looking on getting out. I just wanted to get out of pain.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he said, that's incredible. And in the back of my mind, I was like, well, he doesn't know what network is supposed to be, because I knew I was really bad at it. I just knew that. I was really bad at everything I tried. I didn't.
Because you were only trying and you weren't being it.
True story. I wasn't being it. And apparently, and that was the first session of what I now call ESB, energetic synthesis of being, that takes all kinds of parts of your being that are disparate or that you've left behind and brings them back so that you actually have them. But he and Access unlocked that in me.
And it was great, and I set up and I went, please God, can I have him?
Apparently the answer was yes.
Yes.
Because we've been working together as best friends for the last 20 years. And it was amazing. We would, and then I think it was actually before that, I don't remember. During the same time, Gary and I traded sessions, okay? And he's like, okay, so what do you want to work on? What's up? And I said, oh, I'd love to change my money situation. And we did stuff. We did access processing. And he was working on me for something like 45 minutes. And I felt like my whole universe was exploding apart. And it was funny because I had 3 new patient visits that afternoon, and every one of them said yes. Whereas before, most of them were saying, let me think about it. And so somewhere he had helped me change my point of view. And that was the beginning of being willing to receive way more. And one of the things he said to me was, money, there's no such thing as a money issue. It's about what you're willing to receive. And when he said that, my whole world, I became aware in my world of all the receiving I had cut off because other people said, you shouldn't receive this, you shouldn't receive this, this is bad.
You can't have this, you can't have that. You shouldn't, it's like, and why are you asking for that? Because that's wrong.
Yeah, and it was part of the reason I didn't want to be here anymore, because it's not fun if you don't receive. It's not fun if you can't receive a different possibility, if you can't receive the life and living that you'd like to have. Why would we want to be here?
The bad news about having your bars run in is it teaches you to receive.
Yep. And people go, how does it do that? It just does that.
We don't know.
We don't know.
How it occurs? Don't know.
No.
That it occurs? Absolutely no.
True story. And so we started working together. He would call me, or I'd call him, whatever. We'd get together a few times a week, and we would talk about consciousness. And like we would take and most of it was about the limitations I had. And I'd go, Gary, I got
decided he was the most limited person.
Oh God, seriously.
Thank God.
Like you should have met me 20 years ago. It was like, oh my God, could you have any more limitations? I'm like, yes, I can. Don't ask. But
and he'd get through something major, and I'd go, wow. And he goes, but there's, and I went, oh, really? Can't you just enjoy 30 seconds of happiness and consciousness here?
And I was like, no, there's something else.
Yeah.
Like I was not.
There always was.
Yep. And there was actually always something there. Oh, one thing I want to tell people about that might help other people, and maybe nobody gets it right now, but this was in the thing of us working together, because we literally so it started out, we get together every couple times a week, and then it became where we get together almost every day, and we would talk, and 6 days a week, and we would talk for hours, and it wasn't just talking back and forth. It was exploring, because what I would do is I would present this limitation that I have, and I'd go, okay, like my money issue, whatever. And he would start asking me questions, and between my awareness and his, we could find the things that were not just limiting me, but were limiting other people.
Because I had the ability to see how it applied to others. He made it apply to others by pretending it was his.
Which was a great duo.
So I don't think any of you are pretending you have problems so that other people will get better to you. Oh yeah, get what you do. So everything that is times with God's name, we destroy and create it all.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And so we would find these, because we would start with the prevailing point of view about what was creating a limitation. But remember, what's true makes you lighter, light makes you heavier. And just based on that, we would go down the road of trying to change it using that. But if that didn't make things lighter, then we'd ask, what else do we need to look at? What other way do we need to look at this? What other perspective do we need to have? What other space do we need to come from to look at this to actually change it? And we would unwind things and unlock them, and we would get new processes out of it and new awarenesses out of it that we could use to help other people. And that's where we've done that continuously.
That's how we became co-creators of this, because literally without him, there are a whole lot of things I would not know about. Without him, there would be a whole lot of things you'd be stuck with.
Boom.
You know, boom. You is great, Mr. Dane. You're the great Dane.
Thank you, my great friend.
Okay, good.
It is mutual. The admiration is mutual. And it always has been. And I'm so grateful to have gotten to the point a few years ago where finally it wasn't about me and my problem needing to be the necessity for us getting further.
And undoing people.
Yeah. And then I really got to start enjoying my life even more. And so, once again, how many of you are making your life about the problems you must have in order to make other people better to keep you from enjoying being alive? And everything that is, we destroy and uncreate it, please.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Nice.
Yeah.
One more time.
What else, Miss Emily?
I'd like to ask, so over the last 20 years, you two creating together and the beginning of Access, like, has your target changed for Access? And what is that target?
My target hasn't changed.
What is it?
Neither does mine.
I want to live in a world that's dedicated to consciousness, not trauma, drama, upset, and injury, not telenovela, not the strangeness of it, but the possibilities of it. Yeah, I feel like, it's like when I was young, I read Voltaire, and he said, "This is the best of all possible worlds." I looked at it and I went, "If this is the best it can be, it ain't good enough for me. I need something better. How can I create that?" And I really got into my creative capacity because I wanted to create something better. So I was always looking into how I could create me better, how I could make me better, but how I could also make my life better and the people around me better. I always had the strange friends, okay?
You still do.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. Sorry, God. Okay. I like the strange people because they were not normal. And the people who were normal were like boring. And so I was always looking for how I could get to a life that wasn't boring. You know, it's sort of like watching daytime soap operas. I consider them incredibly boring. But there are other people who wouldn't miss their daily soap opera because it's true life.
It's true life, and it's also a substitute for them having a life.
True enough.
As though that's the valuable product.
Yeah.
And as far as the target changing, the target has not changed. It's just gotten way more fun
and way easier to accomplish.
Yeah. And way more fun as more people have shown up that actually desire a different possibility.
Yeah.
You know, we were both kind of talking to the wind for years, decades.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like when I was talking, it's like literally the first 7 years I did this, I felt like I was talking to the wind. Because people were saying, "Oh, yes, I'm going to do that," and they do exactly the opposite. And I couldn't understand why that would be your choice when I'd shown you that you had a different choice. And I began to realize people can't choose different until they do. And it's like, and will anybody ever hear me? Yeah, 3 years. And Dane and several other people showed up in that 3-year time period. And since then, Access has grown dynamic.
Yeah.
And Access has created more dynamically too.
well, and the beauty of it is it's created by all the people that come to Access.
Yes. Each one of you creates something. You don't even know you do it.
Yep.
But I will say this. One of the things I recognized in the shower this morning was that when you erase the past, which is what Bars does, it takes the thoughts, feelings, emotions from the past and erases them. You have a new choice available to you. But what you've done by erasing the past is you've created a different present, which is also creating a different future. And we got to get to the point where we recognize that we're changing that way and see what else is possible. And I see people changing dynamically at this point in time with all the processing in ways I never saw before. And I think it's amazing. And great things are happening, and great things are happening in the world, even though you may think it's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID gave us the awareness of what a little amount of time it takes to shift the ecology of the earth itself. You know, dolphins swimming in the canals in Venice, fish being seen in the waters of Venice.
Seeing the Himalayas for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah.
Children in China seeing blue sky for the first time in their entire lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take long for the Earth to bring itself into balance again.
Yes. The
If
Earth
we
will always do it if we get out of the way.
And one of the other elements of consciousness is actually functioning in connection and communion with the Earth.
Yeah.
Which, if we would just listen to the Earth, if we would ask the Earth, Earth, is this going to be destroyed if I build this here? Or is there a better place I can build, for example?
There's a way we can build it's better.
Yep. Which we're doing at El Lugar as one of the examples.
I mean, it was interesting because there was a kid who came to give me an interview while we were there the last time.
At El Lugar.
At El Lugar. And he's with the paper. And he talked about how what we were doing was so different. I said, yeah, we want to create a format off of which people can learn to build something greater.
That.
Yeah.
And we are. And it's interesting because we have our amazing, let's call him a horticulturist, our amazing gardener, plant guy, plant guru, just an amazing guy who talks to plants. And
he's a plant whisperer.
He's a plant whisperer. That was the word I was looking for. And so where we put in roads, we actually put in gravel roads, primarily dirt with gravel on top. So it's easy to drive over. But it looks like it was part of the landscape. But not only that, everywhere where they are doing construction, he then follows right after and replants grass and plants flowers and plants trees. And it's like, you're like, where's the construction going on? And the only thing that looks like construction is going on is the current thing that is being constructed.
Yeah.
Like the pool recently got done, well, not done, but constructed, and it's about to be tiled in that. And one area over here and one area over here were the only areas on this entire large plot of land that looked like anything was going on. And David, who was our construction manager there, he had to be away for 2 weeks. And he came back and he had tears in his eyes. He said, the land is healing itself already.
Yeah.
And this is just part of what's possible. But consciousness gives you awareness of other possibilities that will create a sustainable living that nothing else does and that you can't think of. But if you're open to receive them, which is why receiving is so vital, you can have awareness of different possibilities in every area, which is what we're using to build El Lugar.
And we've been, building during the time that everybody else has been shut down.
Yep.
And the people who are, in the community are like thrilled with us because we hired people that nobody else would hire. We hired 3 people over 60, and one, 2 ladies that were actually, like single moms. Nobody hires them.
Yeah, nobody else would hire them because they're a single mom. And it's like, we want you. You have valued us. And they're so grateful, and their contribution is so great. And also in building it, we're hiring local people to be there and build it, not the big company from the big city.
By the way, did I tell you? See, at one point the bank said we had no history in doing hotels. I said, I worked in restaurants. It's like Dane worked in restaurants. We all have all this hospitality stuff that we can tap into. And they said, you have to hire somebody like Miriam who can tell you what to do. So they found somebody who said that they would work with us. They said, you guys are building this all wrong. You should take all of this and put it in the first 2 acres and then sell the rest of the land to make the most money. I said, no.
No.
Well, before you both,
Building is space.
and it's so
Yeah.
unique. I mean, before you both came on today, earlier segment, we had someone film El Lugar, just 10 minutes, and we shared with everybody just the beauty of that land.
Yeah.
And you're creating some other spaces around the world, the castle in Italy, and so we're going to show a clip of the land in the space there too later today, and your ranch as well. So thank you both for like creating those spaces and access and the tools and
the point
bars.
of this story was that the group that we were going to hire, they got rid of the cut down for their COVID thing. They got rid of the guy who was the liaison between local businesses and the tourist industry. They got rid of him, and he came to us and asked if he could have a job.
That's part of the miracles of East Joy and Glory.
Yep. Thank you both.
Are we getting
so
close to
much.
our time? Are we done?
Yeah.
Are we like
We're
time to?
yes. Whew, you made it.
Good
I
job.
made it. I did it.
You did it. Thank you. And we're going to
you.
go from you guys live to you documentary with you both, the Conversations in Consciousness documentary. So you guys got Gary and Dane live now, and then you get to see an amazing documentary with you both to go into deep and even more. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
look beautiful today, Miss Ann.
Thank you. It's Global Bars Day.
Yeah, you have to look beautiful. Well done.
Aw,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thanks,
so,
Miss Emily.
So grateful.
Thank you, Brett.
Bye.
Bye.